This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.
Welcome to What's News Dunedin, brought to you by Hazur Kebab, the radio show that spawned from the 18,000 plus strong local Oti-Poti Dunedin What's News Dunedin Facebook group. The group that's been putting the social back into social media since 2020 with respectful adult debate and a sense of humour. I'm your host Richard Knights. On today's show we're talking to our wonderful guest Kim Forrester, holistic wellbeing educator, who will be telling us a bit more about themselves and what they do, as well as helping us look back at the posts that have generated the most interactions over the past 7 days on the What's News Dunedin Facebook group. Those posts this week are the decision to proceed with the new med school at Waikato, the price of butter, which has been on everyone's lips for the last little while, and friend of the show, Bruce Mahowski, being trespassed from Dunedin Airport for standing there with a sign around his neck saying it's a climate emergency. Welcome back to the show, Kim.
Mr. Richard Knights, it's always a delight to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you for stepping in for our guest. Tess Trotter was going to be here, but unfortunately she's poorly. So big shout out to Tess. Hope you get better soon. You're booked in for a show a bit later on, so we'll definitely catch up with you then. So I can't remember if we're doing the pun of the week when you came on the show. There was pun of the week, yes. So we've still got pun of the week. So we're going to lead in with the pun of the week this week. Obviously, being on the show for the second time, and thank you for stepping in. You are a little bit more familiar with the way things run, but don't think that you've got the questions sorted because second time guest, second time questions, right? So pun of the week here. Did you know that an antelope can jump higher than a house? This is due to the incredible strength of the antelope's hind legs and the fact that houses can't jump.
Yeah, I kind of saw that one coming.
Exactly. But hey, I don't choose it. Like it's the one that gets the most laugh reacts on the page, and that is the one that gets brought through to the show. And another cracker, I have to say, from friend of the show, Max Reed, who he puts himself out there on a Punday Monday, I have to say, and he brings some perlers, to be honest.
Well done, Max. That was a bit of a classic, that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. So now, as I said to you, we've got our 3 pop questions, right? So you've been through this circus before. However, second time guest, second time questions, right? So we don't make things easy just because you're a friend of the show and you've been on before. So our first question this week is toilet paper. When you're hanging the toilet paper on the roll, is it over towards you or is it under towards the wall?
I know there's a right answer to this. I can't remember which one it is, but I'm just going to come out, be authentic and say it's got to be over.
It's got to be over. Yep.
It's got to. Otherwise, you are rubbing your toilet paper against the dirty bathroom wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
And how do you find that in the night? I mean, that's the other thing for me. Like, if it's dark and you haven't decided, because sometimes, I might be the only person that does this, but I think I'm not. If I get up at night, right, I try and keep the lights off because I don't want to wake up, right? Yeah. So I'll go to the bathroom, even if it's number ones. I'm sitting down. I don't want to turn the lights on because I'm sitting there with my eyes shut. I'm trying to stay asleep, right? I don't want to be woken up. So if the paper's against the wall, like you're rumbling around in the dark trying to find the paper against the wall in the dark, that to me is just pointless.
So can we just touch on the confusing fact that you have middle of the night motions?
Oh, I'm old. My bladder won't let me get through the night, like genuinely through the night without going to the toilet.
Oh no, fair enough. Oh, I apologise then.
I'm a wee wiper as well as a poo wiper.
That is very sanitary. That is excellent.
Always have been.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. I know a lot of blokes will probably just give it a shake and move on. But no, I'm also I probably shouldn't admit this on radio. Also put the toilet seat down.
Oh my word!
I'm that kind of that rare phenomenon of a man that puts the toilet seat down.
Have you put that on your campaign page?
I think
I think you should.
I think I should. I mean, I think that's a vote winner.
It is. I think it's testament to the kind of human being that you are.
Yeah, but I say that's. I know I'm when it comes to that, I'm a little bit of rarity. But
okay.
So
that's a campaign I could get behind.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I think so we're dealing with the tough stuff here. That's the important thing. Now, second question: who is your favourite Spice Girl?
I reckon Ginger's got a bit of spunk and I like her a lot.
She's definitely a favourite for me. It's always been the case.
Yeah.
Been in the news recently a little bit as well because of the old Christian Horner, Red Bull Racing. She's I didn't realise she was married to him until the whole thing happened and I'm suddenly like, I recognise her. Oh, hang on a second, that's Ginger Spice.
Yeah, Jerry Halliwell, right?
That's right, yeah, Jerry Halliwell. Yeah, back from my home world of the UK.
Yeah.
So, but no, there's no wrong answers with the Spice Girls. They're all pretty good. I have to say though, no one's yet said Sporty Spice.
Well, I was going to say Sporty Spice,
with the people that have been around the second time. No one said Sporty Spice yet. It'll happen. I mean, I haven't had a lot of people on for a second time.
I think it makes me reflect on how poorly I exercise myself, and so you
kind of stay away. Don't want to sort of draw your mind
cognitive
back to
dissonance.
It.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. If I'm not talking about it, it's not happening.
Exactly.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Sporty Spice.
So, what's sport? I got no idea. Third and final question: would you? And this is your thinker. This is your thinker for for the whole day. Would you rather drink a glass of glue or eat a sandwich filled with sand?
Oh, it's sand.
You go for the sandwich with sand?
Yeah, well, sand I imagine is kind of like fibre, and it would actually move it out really quickly. Where glue is literally going to stick inside of you, isn't it?
That's kind of very chicken, very very emu, very ostrich. Some bit of grit inside your craw,
Yeah.
and then everything helps it go.
Yeah, I think so. And by the way, I'm pretty certain that we've all eaten sand at some point in our lives when we were like 6 months old, 9 months old on the beach.
Well, it's quite possible. Quite possible. I like to think about how many spiders I might have eaten in my lifetime.
Okay. And see, sandwich too, it could be a very thin layer of sand, like a Vegemite layer of sand.
But it's that crunchiness, isn't it? Like there's something about that feeling on your teeth with sand.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure where I'd go with this. To be fair, I think I'd probably go glass of glue.
Really? Are you not concerned about it like literally setting inside your intestines?
No, we've already worked out that I go toilet all the time. So it's I'm not. That is not a genuine concern of mine.
Well, maybe it comes down to our biological programming then, really.
Maybe, absolutely. I just like that whole gritty thing on my teeth. I'm like, it's almost like that.
Do you know what? I wouldn't chew. I'd just rip it off
and swallow.
Yeah.
I like what you're saying there.
See. Yeah.
I'm not changing my answer, but I do like what you're saying there. So that, as always with the show, that they're the. I mean, to be fair, most people tune off after this. Like, there's no one's listening to the rest. They get the 3 questions, and then they kind of go, well, that's all I need to know, really. They're
judging both you and me at this moment, right, Richard?
I've been judged all my life, Kim, and it's not changing anytime soon, I have to say. So, yeah. So that, knowing that all the listeners have turned off now, we just have a nice chat.
Let's do it.
First topic of the week, and this one's close to home, I guess, because of the wonderful University of Otago, is the decision of the government to proceed with the third medical school at Waikato. Now, it was a national election promise, I believe. Why? I don't know. I genuinely don't see the significance, because Auckland and Otago have been saying for ages, right? If you let us train more nurses and train more doctors, we absolutely can. We were actually they're capped by the government, which is the craziest thing. I never knew this until they started talking about this thing going on. That actually they kind of go, we only want a few doctors. We only want this many doctors. We're in a staffing. We've been in a staffing crisis for medical staff for decades. This is not this government's fault, right? We've been in a staffing crisis for doctors and nurses for decades, and yet our government caps the number of people that can be trained every year, right? So, and they kind of go cap in hand to the government, saying like, hey, can we have and they've had a few more, they've been allowed a few more, then another 20, and now they're kind of going, right, we're going to spend 230 something million on creating a new one. Now, admittedly, I think David Seymour and his lot, or it might have been, I can't remember, it was them or News Universe, said it needed a business case. As a part of their coalition agreement, it needed a business case. So they've done this business case, which they're not willing to share with anyone, which is always a little bit of a genuine concern for me. And they've come out and said, yes, it makes business sense. We're going to spend 230 million. 85 million is coming from the government, right? And the remaining 150 million is coming from
Waikato University.
Then David Seymour jumps up like the human being that he is. I had to really wind that back a little bit. Then the human claims victory for the whole thing, because he saved everyone 150 million and this, that, and the other. And it was his doing, and everything that's happened that's in this government is down to him, and I can firmly believe some of that, to be fair. But we didn't need it. I mean, that's money that doesn't need to be spent.
So I'm studying a Bachelor of Communication at the moment. And part of what I'm studying this semester is actually about the media, the agenda that's set in the media, who's behind it, who's pushing it, and it's times like this when you question who's gaining from this decision, because Waikato University are going to struggle to find, I believe from what I've read, it's not easy for them to find that $150 million.
Yeah.
Auckland and Dunedin are both missing out on the opportunity to just expand their current, student base. Someone's gaining from this. And it's someone that we don't know because we haven't seen the business case. And I think that, for me, I would much prefer for every government to come out and say, full transparency, there's a great word, why? Who's lobbied for this and what are they gaining from it?
Yeah.
On the flip side, having an amount of students in our medical schools is one thing. Where are they accommodated is another thing that we have to consider. So maybe Hamilton is expanding faster than Dunedin. It certainly has much more land that you can expand out onto. So the other side of the story is it's not just about the bums on seats in the medical school, but does Dunedin have the resources to house another 100 people in their families?
Yeah, but I guess but the other side of that is if with this new medical school, where are the staff coming from? Because we're understaffed in that part of the world too. So at least when you've got the training school, the training hospital that we've got here in Dunedin, plus the existing staff that we've got that are training these people, where does Waikato University suddenly find those people from? Because they're not just sort of sitting around on their backsides kind of going, I'm just waiting for a new medical school in Waikato and I'll apply for that job and I'll get it, because we've got, even though unemployment's gone up because the government keep making people redundant, we've got fairly low unemployment in the big scheme of things, and we don't have just a whole load of medical trainers just sitting around kind of going, I'll just hang fire until the next medical school gets made, and then I'll go and live in Hamilton, and I'll do that.
So let's peel off a layer of this discussion and go, I think the crux of the matter is you cannot run a country like a company, like a business.
No.
Right? And that means that decisions can't be made by your panel, by your ELT, behind closed doors in the boardroom and then come out and this is the way that it's going. You and I having this discussion around what about this, what about that? That's the point of a government. These things should be debated publicly in the chamber so that we can all understand, those who are interested, in the nuance, in the grey areas, weigh up the pros and the cons. And yet these decisions are being made unilaterally behind closed doors. And that, I think, is probably the overarching concern.
I genuinely think of all the governments that I've known in my entire lifetime, both this side of the water and the other, this is the least nuanced government that I've ever come across. I don't think they understand nuance. I don't think they understand compassion. I don't think they understand a whole lot of things. But it is frightening to think that these decisions are being made by a handful of people, and the general populace is looking at that and kind of going, I don't understand how you got to what you got to.
Exactly.
And then there's no explanation. It's like the conversation, and this is the perfect segue into the next topic. It's like the conversation around butter, right? Like you've got a prime minister trying to tell people he knows what the cost of butter is and getting it wrong, standing up in front of people and then laughing at them and ridiculing them when they're coming back with the actual facts of the cost of a piece of butter. And I find that interaction, I find that disgusting. Genuinely, if the questioner is being rude or whatever, then okay, move on, but don't. But that kind of nasty, passive-aggressive stuff that comes back from our politicians at the moment is something that I find absolutely totally abhorrent. It's not the way. It's not the way people. It's not the way grown-ups should act. In my mind,
it's not decency.
There's no decency in it. But you've got so people are asking genuinely. This week we've heard that the cost of living has gone up on the what they call, I can't remember what they call them, but there's a certain section of inflation gone up to 4.7%, highest it's been under recently. Straight away, the government blames the other government straight away because that's just their normal go-to space. And at some point, I don't know how long. I mean, they've been in power 2 years, right? So these things are absolutely sit on the doorstep of the current people, right? This is not a hangover from the 2023. We're in 2025. butter's still going up. The cost of my groceries is I can watch it go up every single damn week. Right, I'm buying the same items, right, and my shopping's getting more expensive in real time as I'm buying the same 25 items that I bought the week before. Right, I find that I have never seen that before in my 53 years on the planet. I have never seen that happening the way it's happening right now. Right. And we're asking the question, why is it going up? Why can you go and buy a piece of butter that's produced in New Zealand cheaper in another part of the world where it's actually had to be shipped? There's a shipping cost to that stuff. Why can you buy butter cheaper in Australia, our butter, than we can buy it here? And I've seen there was an explainer on stuff this morning. I read the whole damn thing and I still couldn't. And I like to think I'm a reasonably intelligent human being, and I couldn't work out at the end of it how, other than the fact that they said that they're not going to sell just because someone else wants it badly. They're not going to sell it over here cheaper because that person over there wants it more expensive, but they're still selling it cheaper, and I don't get it. Like,
Well, I think, in the end, Fonterra is certainly the supermarkets. They are businesses. They are there to make money and to please their shareholders. Shopping in Australia, so I lived in Australia and Singapore for many years, in Kuala Lumpur, and I can tell you can go to the supermarket there, and Anchor butter is, just one of several. You'll be familiar with Luapak that comes out of Denmark.
Yep.
There's Buller, which is an Australian butter. So I guess to compete in the market over there, they have to put the prices down to be more attractive. Here in New Zealand, of course, there's a whole sense that we have our own dairy. I'm not excusing it. I'm explaining it. The other thing is too, Richard, from what I'm learning now about media agendas and what gets planted in the media and why, I would say that talking about the price of butter in particular, very emotive, very easy for people to start talking about and have an opinion of, right? Very engaging. Everyone's focused on the price of butter. What's going on behind the scenes? What are we not being asked to look at?
Yeah.
Why is there a big, shiny, dangly object over here? Butter, 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 price of butter. What are the regulations that are currently being worked on that they don't want us to talk about? Because the price of butter is one thing that can easily either just disappear and into the ether, or be well explained.
I'm disappointed you didn't use the word melt.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
Let's do that again then.
There was an opportunity there to use butter melts
That's
away.
right, yeah.
And
But as it is, it spreads wild throughout the population.
Absolutely. Okay, that's cool. We can pun it up. I like it. But I agree, because it's a very Trumpian distraction technique that is extremely pervasive into modern times, right? Which is, and I ask the same. My brain's asking the same questions. What are they trying to distract me from? It's the magician with the pulling the coin out of your ear, or disappearing a ball in his hand. Like, I know that he's got it up his sleeve. Yeah, I know it. I've seen Penn and Teller. But you still don't see it go, right? Because you're distracted. What are we being distracted? Why we sit here and think like, oh, this bloody it's just random. It's not. I don't think it is. I think it is absolutely far more orchestrated than we are allowing ourselves to genuinely believe.
I think that each of us has a responsibility and an ability. If we get a topic that we feel so strongly about, and it's really inane, like the price of butter, I get it, but the price of everything is going up. Why are we talking specifically about butter and not eggs or milk or vegetables? And inflation's going up here in New Zealand and all around the world. But to get us to talk about this really singular topic in such an engaging and emotive way, I just feel that we're being distracted, like you say, by the magician, something else we can be paying attention to.
I'm not. I don't know much about butter, I have to say. Mm-hmm. So but it's made from milk, right?
I believe so. Yeah. I've actually churned milk and cream into butter.
Butter, right? So it's made from milk, right? Yeah. So the thing that makes me kind of wonder what the hell's going on is that, in comparison, the price of milk hasn't gone up like the price of butter. Because I can remember when milk was like $3.50 a 2 litre, and it's not much more over $4 now, and that was a long time back. One of the things I noticed when I came from the UK is that the milk price hadn't changed very much, like for a long, long time. All right, so if that's your root ingredient, right, and then where's that changed? Like genuinely, because like milk was $3.50 for 2 litres, and that's retail consumer, and then butter was like $3 or $4 a block of 500. It's gone up by 50 cents, but that's gone up by doubled. I don't get.
Oh, totally. I totally understand.
I don't get that. Like,
I just think we'd be better served by broadening the discussion rather than just focusing on the butter, which I think we're being literally directed to focus on. Let's talk about the system. Let's talk about corporates and the profits that they make. Let's talk about, are farmers being paid fairly for the milk, or is that all of that profit going into the retailers?
Yeah.
I just think we can be so easily swayed and led by the media agenda, and the media agenda is often set by publicists and lobbyists, and they come with this lovely, fully packed story that ticks all the journalistic boxes.
Yeah.
The price of butter is important. So is the price of housing. So is the price of cars and public transport. So that's all.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Now, friend of the show, Bruce Mahowski, climate crisis that's going on right now. He's very much an eco warrior, he's a hugely wonderful human being. He got the Natural Mystery Museum that's in Dunedin that he runs, and some of his artwork is fantastic. The man is multi-talented, very humble, very extremely polite. One of the nicest men I've ever met in my entire life, and I'd like to think I'm reasonably thick-skinned. He's got skin like a rhino that's wearing another rhino's coat as an outside layer, and with a little bit of armour on the back, because it doesn't matter how hard you come for that man, he is the most genuinely polite person in the world. He went to the airport, right? So I've spoken to him recently, and he's asked me if I would change my language around talking about climate change, because we should be talking about it as a climate emergency. We should be talking about it as a climate crisis, and I'm absolutely 100% behind that, because at the end of the day. And I hate using like little snappy. There's no planet B, right?
No.
But I hate using those things because people just kind of forget about them and move on. Our planet is burning. We've got taonga species that are being caught in bloody nets for fishing for stuff that we don't need to fish for. And we've got a government that's quite happy to just destroy lizard environments and animal environments for the sake of $1. And in the meantime, we're down to 53 Maui dolphins left in the entire world. We've got 241 kakapo left in the world, right? I mean, that's gone up from 47 or 42, which was the smallest number, right? We have got these animals that deserve our utmost care, and we're running the planet literally into the ground. He's gone to the airport with a sign around his neck, which literally was the size of a piece of A3 paper, and it said it's a climate emergency, protesting air travel, not trying to stop people, not interfering with people, just standing with someone else observing to see what happened. And within 15 minutes, he was trespassed from Dunedin Airport, and I find that behaviour, I find that disgusting. I would be, if I was Bruce, and maybe he's doing that, I'd be wanting to know why. What law had they broken? I mean, peaceful protest is a given human right in this country, right? Dunedin Airport is a
publicly owned space,
both 50% Crown, 50% Dunedin City Council, right? He's not behind security. He's not trying to interact with any human being. He is literally stood there with a sign around his neck. What if it was a T-shirt? If he was stood there with a T-shirt on, what would the same message just on a T-shirt? What would that he wasn't blocking the way. He wasn't stopping people going from A to B. He was literally stood there for someone, if they wished to take time to interact with him. And he was trespassed for 2 years from the airport.
For making people feel uneasy. with the truth, with an uncomfortable truth.
But it's not even it's not even uncomfortable. It
It
should be the truth.
Absolutely, yes. And the truth can often make people feel uncomfortable if they're being asked to change their views or change their behaviours. Absolutely. Well, it certainly made the airport crew uncomfortable.
He even walked up to the welcome desk when he walked in, as my understanding of it. He walked up to the welcome desk, explained to them what they were going to do, and they were like, you know, the genuine people, not security, the people behind the desk were like, okay. I mean, I guess they must have potentially told someone, or they were just simply seen standing there, you know. But I find the whole thing worrisome in the sense of, like, what else are we going to be stopped from doing? What else? I mean, it's a fairly fundamental right to be able to stand in a public place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a fundamental right,
right? With the sign that very clearly and in a dignified manner states your opinion, your perspective. Yeah,
that's as a public place.
Yes,
as standing on a pavement.
Yes,
in my view. Yeah. I mean, they said to me he could stand outside, but again, if he can stand outside, why can't he stand inside? Mm. And I could understand that Bruce would have refused to do that at that point because, that's still council and crown owned land. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. There's no difference in that.
So you and I are of the view that what he was saying on his placard. So I'm just going to be, because we have to have these difficult conversations as a community, as a society, right? I can't see anything wrong with him standing in a public space and saying something that I totally, completely agree with. What if his sign said Heil Hitler? What if somebody else decided to go to the airport and stand with a sign that was so antithetical to what you and I believe? Would we be as happy for, you know, free expression of opinion to occur on our public space if that was to happen?
I think that particular example would cross into the realm of hate speech.
Okay,
so
excellent.
So at that point, I would say I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Equally the same if it was anti-gay, anti-trans, all those kind of things. I would say that actually steps into something that's different. If you wanted to make the comparison, I would suggest that someone standing there with with a sign that said climate change is a hoax.
Yeah.
Then I'd have as little issue as a comparison. Because one of the things I think about is the whole Sam Sharp anti-abortion, the protest that Sam has always done until the law was changed. They couldn't protest because the pro-life, anti-abortion people used to protest outside the hospital, and then Sam used to stand there with his thing that just used to point to them with a with a penis on it. And I think I'm allowed to say penis on the radio. I don't know. Well, if I get shut down, it's
an anatomical.
What a way to go. So again, like no one then was moving either of those people along.
Mm.
Is the point?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's argument and counter argument right there.
Yeah.
In the same space, meters from each other, that's peaceful protest from both sides. Whichever side you agree with, that's why I have a problem with Bruce being moved on.
I think a decision has been made in that moment without a deeper reflection of the implications of it. Do you know what I mean? Someone has felt uncomfortable, and let's just move Bruce on. The only way forward for us, Richard, as a society, because we're all going to have different opinions about different things, and that's the way it's supposed to be. We have to, not get so entrenched in our point of view, and we have to truly reflect on the grey area in between. That takes time, and it takes discomfort, right? And it takes critical thinking. Someone at the airport has made a decision about moving Bruce on without reflecting on the morality of it, on the deeper implications for free speech, for, what is allowed and not allowed on public space. And so, but now's the opportunity for us to have that. And by the way, if Bruce was to stand outside the Dunedin airport and not get into trouble for it, he wouldn't have made it to the paper. So perhaps in actual fact, once again, not to justify it, but the fact is now that he's got far more publicity for it than he would if he was standing at the bottom of Baldwin Street.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, and it's all about having that publicity around it.
Yeah.
Seeing the abhorrent comments that directed his way on the ODT page, though, that's the bit that for me that I struggled to understand human beings at that point, because they weren't even impacted by him standing there, and some of the aggression and some of the, from a human being to another human being that doesn't know that person, and they're doing what they believe to be right in their mind, right? And I think we've all got a right to do that. It is equally the same as the people that are being abusive, but abuse is not peaceful protest.
No, and there's a whole discussion around social media and anonymity, and there's no way that most of those people would ever say that directly to Bruce's face, because when we're we're going to talk about social connection, but when we are face to face with people, there is a sense of there's a social contract that goes on there. So I'm not sure that people are their best when they're commenting online.
No, I mean I've always been of the firm belief that I would say something to your face that I would say online, right? And I wouldn't. If I thought that if I saw you in real life and I said something to you to give me a punch in the face, I wouldn't take that punch in the face online either, right? Yeah. I'm looking forward to the day when smartphones and stuff actually can deliver a punch in the face, and or through the screen and stuff in such a way that that there is actually consequence for poor behaviour, Because the most you can do on social media is stop people having that poor behaviour, moving people on, right? And I do it all the time in my group, right? If you can't obey my rules, then you can't take part in the group, right? The amount of people that absolutely lose their minds when that happens to them, and I try to explain, actually, like, this is on you. Like, my rules are there. Like, there's a whole list. There's 10 of them. But they're very easy to understand. 99% of this group understands the rules and gets on board with them. You're in the 1%, right? So if you can't obey the rules, it sits with you. You need to take some responsibility for that. But apparently, no, it's all my fault. And people find way, and people and people just want to troll and nasty. And then when you go, I'm not dealing with that, sorry, then it's like, what, my freedom of speech? Well, it's not freedom of speech. There's no freedom of platform. There's no freedom from consequences. Freedom of speech doesn't exist in that environment, right? And you need to understand that. You don't come to my house, insult me, and expect to stay and eat dinner with me, right? Just doesn't work that way, right? I will punch you in the face, and I'll send you out, metaphorically punch you in the face, and send you on your way. And I'll do the same in my Facebook group. That's all you've got on social media. So I want someone to design a smartphone, maybe just administers a shock or something.
Yeah, well, exactly, or a little pepper spray.
Yeah, just a little, absolutely.
Yeah. Just to wake people up a little bit.
That's like, you crossed the line, mate. Like, like a little zap. Oh, hang on a second. Like, just like a shock off the door, just enough to make you worried.
A little toss a tap. Bing.
Yeah, it's like, that's what we need. I think so if anyone's listening, smart people, just go out there and and get it done, will you?
So I think, to wrap it up though, Richard, we have become a society that is full of entitlement. So, Bruce knew what he was doing going to the airport, right? And I know that he is strong enough and resilient enough and courageous enough and good on him to deal with whatever comes his way. But the people online, for instance, who come into your group, they feel that they're entitled to come and be absolute, tossers on your page. So we have a sense of entitlement out there. Someone at the airport has decided that they're entitled to having just pleasantness in there, which is the other thing. We've become so adverse to unpleasantness. If we are going to function as a society, as a healthy, progressive, well society that is deeply connected, we all have to get used to being uncomfortable sometimes.
Yep.
So you and I might have to get uncomfortable with the fact that you're not allowed to hold signs like that at the airport, or the airport and those involved will have to become used to being uncomfortable with people saying whatever they want to say on signs at the airport. And I just think that the way that we have come to view our place in society, that the world is supposed to run our way, bring us everything we want, Oh, and there's no consequence for our actions. The other thing, right?
Yeah.
Bruce knew there were going to be there would be or maybe consequences.
Yeah.
And I would I can't speak for him. If I was as courageous as him, I would have gamed that out and think, those consequences are worth it.
And I certainly think Bruce feels the consequences are worth it. And I've got someone coming on the show. I've got Rosemary Penmorden coming on the show at some point later on in the next few weeks, who certainly knows the consequences of the things that they're doing. And a very amazing activist over a number of different things. And I'm looking forward to having her on the show, because it would be fantastic to kind of get behind the mind, because I'm not that brave. I'm genuinely not. If a policeman comes up to me and says stop doing that, I go, sorry, sir. That's how I've been brought up, and I absolutely would. I mean, I've never been, even though it's on my bucket list, I'd like to be arrested. I've never been arrested. I'd like to.
Yeah, but for something really noble, right?
I'd like to be for a good cause or something, or for protecting a fair maiden or fair mad. What's it, a maiden?
I don't know.
Mandan. Well, we'll make it up. Like, maiden or Mandan. I've got no idea who I'm protecting, right? And then I'd love to do that. I'd love to spend the night in the jail. But again, I'm too scared.
In the clink.
Absolutely. Do some hard time. It's on my bucket list, but I know I'm never going to get there. But so I run away from that kind of stuff, and I'm as argumentative as the next man. Genuinely, if I think I'm in the right, you're going to know about it. That's just the way I'm wired. But I have a massive respect for authority, and if someone says so I've never been in trouble with the law, right? That's it. But Bruce, no. But what I would love is that Bruce could go to the airport knowing or expecting that there might be consequences for what he was doing, and get there and there wasn't.
Yeah. Sure.
Then I think that we've got to a position where someone's paying attention.
I totally understand. And with that then, Richard, so that's something that we could decide through the council, that it is perfectly okay for you to peacefully protest at the airport. We have to be comfortable with the fact that Destiny Church might go along and do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the conversation, and we weigh up the pros and the cons and what makes us feel comfortable and uncomfortable, and we come to a decision and we say fine, because for us, freedom of speech or expression of our perspective is the thing that we value most.
Yeah.
Yep.
As long as it doesn't border on hate speech
exactly.
is my criteria.
Yep.
We'll probably talk about this for hours, but we're going to talk about other stuff in a minute. Before we do, I'm going to get a wonderful word from our wonderful sponsor.
Have you checked out Hazur Kebab yet? It's your go-to for a delicious lunch, a tasty dinner, or anything in between. Order online to save time and pick up some delicious, authentic Turkish cuisine in just minutes. HazurKebabCafe.co.nz. Dine in or take away at 906 George Street.
Such a fantastic place to have food. I am going there tomorrow. Prior to going to see the Neuro Spice Girls show, which they were on. It might have been last week. 2 weeks ago. Kim and Lizzie and Marama were on the show, and it's just going to be a fantastic show. So I'm looking forward to going to see that with my 14-year-old and my wife tomorrow. I'm going to go and get kebab beforehand because the food's cooked with love. So it's a great synergy to go from love to love and go and watch this amazing show. Now, before I forget, before we move on to anything else, I do want to give a shout out to the OI podcast, which is being done by Dr. Barbara Anderson at this moment in time, because they are doing some stuff covering the election and stuff that I can't talk about because I'm running for council. But they've done a couple of local election specialists with Janine Hayward about how to register, what STV is, all those kind of bits and pieces. They've had Amanda Verco, who's the deputy CEO for the Otago Regional Council, on about, again, what they do and how they do it. And I believe on today's show, they've actually got Sandy Graham, CEO for DCC, explaining what you get for your DCC rates and exactly what the mayor's job is and what the councillors get paid and bits and pieces like that. So those things, if people are listening, by all means, give them a listen too, because there was going to be some awesome information out there, especially for those of you thinking about how to vote and what you might vote and what's the point of voting. So please get out and listen to Barbara's stuff as well, because she does a fantastic podcast, as do many of the people here at OAR or FM. But when you reached out, obviously emergency situation this morning, poor Tess, got cold, got a head cold, got
Get well soon, Tess.
Yeah, absolutely. Got sore throat, can't talk, full of snot. Probably too much information. Sorry, Tess. And then you reached out and said, "Hey, is it Friendship Day?"
Yep, International Day of Friendship next Wednesday.
Fantastic. So I do want to talk about that because I'm a big fan of being friendly. You know, people say that the people don't like me sometimes for my opinions that I hold, but I don't hold that against people. I can genuinely be friends with everyone, regardless of whether their opinions counter mine. A lot of people, I think, unfortunately, a lot of people can't. But I don't take people's opinions particularly. I don't take offence to them particularly, unless they are genuinely offensive positions. You know, if they are in that hate speech stuff that we talked about before. But I'm not shy. I wouldn't shy away from making sure people understood that I didn't want to hear that. International Friendship Day should be every day. In my view,
I think it is a sad indictment on our society that we have to have a particular day that says, "Hey, there are friends out there, and maybe you should connect with them." But that's where we are.
That's where we are. Like, you know, I think international days should be for things like International Donut Day. You know, go out, grab a donut. I'm sure there is one. Like
there actually is an International Donut Day.
Of course there is. Like, someone like me has invented that because actually it was another excuse to go and eat donuts. Like, not that you need excuses. Like, genuinely, I had a donut before I got here.
I do think it's a wonderful opportunity for things like this to happen, where we can talk about, you know, the importance of International Friendship Day. It's not just about making friends with people. It's about how often and how deeply do we actually connect with people in our lives, in our societies. And I mean, all the studies are pointing to the fact that we just don't enough these days.
And it's getting worse and worse and worse, isn't it? I mean, that's the other side of it. In my view, is that like we've got to a world, and I'm amazed because this has happened in my lifetime. All right, when I was a kid, if I wanted to see my friends, I had to leave the house. I had to go to their house. I had to knock on the door and see if they were there. I then had to spend time with them physically one-to-one. Now, if I want to see my friends, I could be anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. I could jump on social media and just check in with them in a sense of they don't even know I'm looking. They don't even know I care, right? Maybe a like here and there. Or I could flick the phone on and have a video call with someone. I can't remember the last time I video called a friend of mine. How sad is that? Like, genuinely, I've got friends all over the world. People I would consider to be friends. People that not only have I been friends, but I've been friends with since those days when I had to go and knock on their door and actually go and say hello to them. But I don't pick up my phone and phone them up. I don't get on the apart from the occasional like on social media. What do I do? But I still consider these people friends.
Sure. So what the stats are saying is that, well, first of all, many of us have heard that male loneliness epidemic thing that's going on, and it is true. I'm not going to make up the percentage. I can't remember it exactly, but there is a concerning number of men who feel that they do not have one person that they can share a concern with, anything that's deep going on. There's not one person in these men's lives.
Wow.
How lonely is that? And yet it's...
In an interconnected world where we've got literally everything
but are we connected?
Well, we're not connected, are we? That's what I'm saying.
No.
We're interconnected, but we're not connected. I can reach out for any piece of information, any TV show, any piece of literature. I can connect with any of those things, but I can't speak to a human being.
So we are, and it's not just male, just really quickly, studies are showing that we have got fewer friends than we ever have in any previous generation, and we're spending less time with them. Connection is becoming less and less prioritised in our world, and it is doing incredible damage to our ability to be well. It just simply is. We evolve. We are animals, Richard, right? We are just apes with fancy tools and, elaborate language.
And opposable thumbs.
And opposable thumbs, exactly. We evolved in a particular environment in a particular way that allowed us to thrive and to spread out across the world. That way was in pods of about 10 to 12 and larger villages of about 150 people. The 10 to 12 were the ones that knew all our secrets, or, these days it might be 5 to 12, that knew all our secrets, And the 150 were the ones that we would see in a crowd and go, hi, and strike up a conversation with. So the 150 people in the modern context, they talk about if you walked into a pub or a restaurant and you saw a person and you felt comfortable enough to go and start chatting to them, that part of your 150.
Yeah.
Right? That was how we grew up. The reason that Homo sapiens survived and thrived outside of Africa where other hominids died out is literally because we came together in groups and we cooperated and we shared knowledge and innovations and insights and experience. We, as humans, have flourished because of our connectivity to each other. And yet in the last, well, probably since the dawn of the industrial age, we've become individualistic, right? Our homes now, we're so divorced from the people around us. We don't gather in large groups and dine anymore, and have meals together. And certainly with the advent of the phone, you can go to a restaurant or even you go to like a rugby match here in town at the stadium, and rather than I sit there and chat to everyone around me, but how many people are just on their phones, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then half time everyone's just sort of on their phone or going off for a pee.
And barrier down at that point.
Absolutely.
You don't want to interrupt someone who's sitting there that's shut themselves out from you. I had a lovely. I talk to everyone because that's just my nature. And if you don't want to talk to me, fine, because I'll quite happily talk at you. I just got words. I just need to use them. If I don't, I explode. I had a fantastic interaction last Saturday. Driving to Mosgiel from Brighton because we was going to get some citizens, fantastic food. It's all about the tummy. And put my order in, stepped away. Someone else come along, stepped away, and then they stood next to me, and they just turned straight at me. And it hasn't happened to me for a long, long time. So you watching a rugby at night? And I'm like, what rugby? And he's like, rugby. And I'm like, it's the wrong shaped ball. And then we had this human interaction, which he walks away from hopefully, thinking that's a weird bloke, and I walked away from thinking he's a nice bloke, and we had a fantastic human interaction. Mm-hmm. I'll never see that guy again, chances are. But we both could have stood there, said nothing, done nothing, wait for our food, walked away from each other without that human being, whoever he was, brought some joy to my life. Without him even realising it. That's not why he did it. He was just a sociable bloke that wanted to say hello, right? But he brought some joy to my life, and hopefully I brought a little bit of joy to his life. We had a giggle, we had a laugh, we both went on our way. So nice to meet you, and away you go. We don't do that enough anymore.
No, we don't even do it with our own friends.
No, exactly.
We're not even reaching out. So gorgeous Becky Runga, I'll give her a shout out here at Mortgage Me because she is a wonderful woman with a very, very clever idea. She puts into her diary every 6 to 8 weeks the people that she wants to connect with. She puts in pre-programmed into her schedule a catch-up with the people that matter to her. And I think it's wonderful. And if it rolls around and you're not able to catch up, then that's fine. Then, we'll see you next time or we'll move it to next week or whatever. But in this day and age where connection and friendship is not prioritised anymore, it actually really pays to make an effort to schedule it into your day.
But she's a wonderful human being, though, Becky.
She is a wonderul human
I know
being.
her. I mean, I'm not in her list of people that she phones up.
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
No, Becky, if you're listening, I mean, it's not like we don't know each other. But that's fine. I'll wait for your connection. But she is. I mean, she's genuinely one of life's good ones, right?
Absolutely. But what she's doing there, Richard, is that there's a lot that we choose to do in society that is actually detrimental to our health and well-being. I mean, we used to put cocaine in a soft drink and call it medicine, and women used to put hydrochloric acid on their skin. So let's not kid ourselves that the choices we make as a society are the things that are best for us. For us to thrive as individuals, we actually have to put an effort in. Just like, it's best for us to put an effort in to go for a walk for half an hour every day. It's best for us to choose the food that goes in our mouth. It absolutely is in our best interest to choose to find the people that resonate with us and make an effort to catch up with them, at least once a month.
Yep.
Because it's feeding us. It's helping us thrive. And when you are connecting, be a little bit vulnerable. Don't worry about, I think, wonder this Instagram sort of world that we live in where we pretend everything is perfect in our life.
Yes.
No, It's messy and it's awful. And, some days I swear like a trooper. Actually, a lot of days I swear like a trooper. And there are days I cry because I'm sad or despairing of the world, whatever. So it's okay for us to let go of the sense of perfection and connect with people that we feel safe with and we trust on a really human level.
I want to come back to that, but before we do, I need to fulfil my corporate commitments and another ad from our wonderful sponsor.
Have you checked out Hazur Kebab yet? It's your go-to for a delicious lunch, a tasty dinner, or anything in between. Order online to save time and pick up some delicious, authentic Turkish cuisine in just minutes. HazurKebabCafe.co.nz. Dine in or take away at 906 George Street.
We've got less than 5 minutes to go. And I can't the time flies when you're having fun, right? You just didn't know you were having fun, but now you do. I've told you. It just means we're having a proper friendly chat, which is what it's all about. But I want to touch back to that Instagram, that social media perfection, because we're setting an extremely poor precedent for our generations to follow, in my opinion, about that whole the perfect life, the perfect wife, the perfect husband, the perfect this, and life is not perfect. Life is bloody messy. And if you kind of go into your life with an expectation of perfection, you're only ever going to be disappointed, right? And I genuinely, I don't have a perfect life, but I can look back on my life and go, I'll tell you what, it's the bloody best life I feel like it's the best life I could have given myself. I mean, there's a few things I haven't done that I want to do, like get arrested and spend time in prison. Like every normal human being wants to. But when I look back on my life, the best parts of that life are my human connections.
Absolutely. So let's talk about online connection, because there are people out there through mobility issues or perhaps social anxiety who are unable or who do not have the capacity to get out and meet people face to face. And that's perfectly wonderful, and I understand that. In that case, online connection is great. It's better than nothing. But the studies are clear. It's this, you and I looking at each other in the eyes and we're picking up on each other's, signals, physical signals. That's important for us. We're feeding off each other. So we're connecting, not just sort of chatting. The other thing is that the online world calls for us to have a really superficial connection with people. We choose what to put online, and it is that perfect stuff. And secondly, it's all about the numbers. A lot of people feel, I have to get 20,000 followers. That is so antithetical to what actually helps us thrive. We are better off with 150 people who kind of know varying degrees of what's truly going on in our life.
Yep.
That is what keeps us well. And it's just a reminder of that we are literally taking ourselves out of our natural environment in which we have evolved to thrive. And we're creating this online space where superficial interactions with enormous amounts of people that we cannot ever, dream of connecting with authentically with, can happen. So if you're going to use online because it's the only vehicle that's available to you, try to make it so that you get really close with a handful of people, and then look for no more than 150 people that you're actually interacting with. Try and emulate that natural community on an online space. And I think you'll find that it'll actually fulfill you a lot more than trying to get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers.
Or try and bring some of those people
Absolutely.
into real life,
Yes.
because one of the things that doing this show and running the group that I've done is I've managed to connect with people that I never would have connected with in my entire life. But now I would genuinely call many of them friends, like the people that, the people I can have genuine human interactions with. By doing this show, I've got to meet you twice. If I wasn't doing this show, then I wouldn't. And, we obviously genuinely have an interesting conversation when we have one. And there's a lot of people that I've brought into my real life that, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. Look at me, do what Richard does. I'm just saying that I've been fortunate that my life has evolved in such a way that I'm able to do that. And of course, I'm a bloke that just wants to talk your ear off anyway. That's just naturally my natural way of doing things. But it's so important. Friendship Day is next Wednesday, 30th of July.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So reach out now to people that you know, people that you'd like to know, okay? So just really quickly, studies have shown that we tend to change our close group of friends every 7 years or so. So it's okay if your friendships are evolving. Reach out to someone that you'd like to get to know better, or someone who really lifts you up and inspires you. And Sharing a meal, amazing way to sort of gain connection with people is over a meal.
And of course, it's my birthday on the 31st of July, so if Friendship Day doesn't work for you, just invite me for dinner because I'm always happy to eat something.
There you go.
So fantastic. I think that's a perfect place to leave, maybe invite myself to people's dinners. Perfect place to leave the show. Thank you very much for stepping in, Kim. You know the drill. You sit there and I'll just round out the show. Thank you.
No worries.
Well, that's a wrap for this week. Thank you for tuning in. I've been Richard Knights and you've all been wonderful. Remember, if you're looking for robust, respectful adult debate about all things local and further afield, and a welcoming online community that doesn't take itself too seriously, come and find What's News Dunedin on Facebook and join our fun. On next week's show, we'll be talking to Holly Bramall from Fern Collective, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday at 12 on OAR FM. And if you want to listen to the show again, or simply share it with your friends, you can find the podcast at oar.org.nz or even on Spotify or your favourite podcast provider.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.